The latest Wuthering Waves update contains a ton of surprising reveals, and these are the top 5 new features coming with the 2.6 version. So, the first thing revealed was a new zone and a story quest. Augusta, a character that I believe we first saw in 2.4, invites Rover to join her on a hunt in the new zone called Sanguis Plateaus, where the dark tide awaits. Honestly, this zone looks pretty awesome. I really like the grim look of ravaged lands by the dark tide, and as always, hoping to hear some new OST in there. Now, the main quest will be split into 2 parts. Chapter 2, Act 8 will be available on the update day on August 28th, and then Chapter 2, Act 9 will be released during second phase, September 17th. So yeah, let's see how the story develops in these new quests, and now let's move on to the events. Alright, the main event of 2.6 is going to be Tidal Defense Simulator set in Black Shores, and it's a tower defense event, which looks quite similar to Orcs Must Die if you ever played that game. I for one enjoyed that game, and I'm really looking forward to this tower defense mode, and if I understood correctly, it will have 2 difficulty modes. Once you pass Guardian Trial, you can then unlock Death Trap, which will have more layouts and more varied waves of enemies. Oh, and by completing this event, you can unlock a phantom form of Fallacy of No Return. Pretty sweet deal. But moving over to smaller events, as always, the new region will have a bunch of limited time activities, such as exploration, photo collection, and area completion events. So make sure to explore the new Sanguis Plateaus zone to get all the limited rewards. Now, this next event is actually a new one called Marks of the Wild. It's, I don't know how to describe it, but like a puzzle minigame where you combine a bunch of nodes to track down TDs in the hiding, so pretty interesting. Then we have Second Coming of Solaris Ultra, which is a brand new revised event that was first introduced, more than a year ago. I don't even remember it, to be honest, but this one looks pretty funny. You gotta find the anomalies and fix weird looking differences in the game's world. Now, this next one is called Moonlit Revelation, and it's basically a daily login event to receive asteroids, and more importantly, you can receive an exploration buff for the whole day based on the lunar phase. Also, after revealing 7 of those lunar phases, you'll obtain a unique profile avatar. Still, how can you have a new update without Lolo Logistics, which is now coming to Rinascita? I mean, hey, free rewards, right? And since we're on the topic of regular stuff, the 7-day login event for extra pulls will be there waiting for you as always, and then later on in the update, starting from September 17th, you can claim 10 Radiant Tides and 10 Forging Tides. Finally, there will be an event where you can invite your friends to play the game and gain some referral rewards. So, the first new unit we have is Augusta. She's a 5-star Electro Broadblade user, and man, her big sword looks awesome, which the developers actually stated is made up of many different swords Augusta acquired from her battles. Now, the livestream, as always, didn't go into much detail how these new units work, but basically, Augusta's forte, once it's full, will summon her companion Griffrex, who can deal better damage with her enhanced skill, and she can even leap into air with follow-up skills, while her Resonance Liberation lets her go wild with the Broadblade attacks, and it can even be enhanced with certain conditions. But most importantly, notice how she can provide shielding to the team? That's pretty cool, and we haven't seen this mechanic in a while now. Also, it seems like casting her outro will then make other teammates outro power up her liberation, which is pretty interesting. But moving over, the next character we have is Iuno? I don't know if I pronounced her name correctly, the stream wasn't in English, but anyway, who needs translation when you've got feet? Okay, back to normalcy. So, Iuno is a 5-star Arrow Gauntlets user, but you won't see much of her gauntlets because most of her attack animations will actually use this cool moon ring, which can also transform into a moon bow, and her playstyle seems to be all about building up this lunar cycle, which will allow her to unleash different types of attacks, including the switch to the bow. She will use this bow by expending her Forte Gauge to deliver ranged attacks, which will also grant damage bonus, and even heal the team. Oh, and she can even hover around with her moon ring. Finally, when her liberation is activated, she regains Forte Gauge and creates this full moon domain effect on the field, and then when switching to other teammates, they will gain damage bonus and recover HP. Anyway, so those are the new units, and looking at the upcoming banners, Phase 1 will have Augusta, Carlotta, and Shorekeeper as the featured 5-stars with their signature weapons, and the featured 4-stars will be Chixia, Yuhu, and Yuanwu. Now, as for Phase 2, Iuno and Chacona will be available to pull for with their accompanying signature weapons, while the featured 4-stars are going to be Alto, Baiji, and Taochi. Honestly, the first phase seems super stacked, especially with Shorekeeper rerunning, and she's still one of the most versatile supports you can get in the game, so hopefully you have some asteroids saved up. Okay, time to talk about the new Echoes. In total, we're getting 3 new Echoes, which are going to be Quadrosaurus, a T-Rex type of Echo you could say, then there's the False Sovereign, and finally, Lady of the Sea, who is a world boss, and even its tactical hologram challenge will be added during the update. And then 6 new Nightmare versions of the regular Echoes will be added, shown here. Maybe they will have some useful abilities, who knows. But most importantly, 2 new echo sets will arrive in 2.6 update. The stream didn't show their details, but I found them on WuWa's official website. The first set, called Crown of Valor, as you'll notice, is a 3 set, and it will increase the wielder's attack by 6% and crit damage by 4% after gaining a shield, and this can happen up to 5 times for a total of 30% attack and 20% crit damage. Pretty sweet, and I'm sure this will be best in slot set for Augusta. Now the other one is also a 3 set, and it's called Law of Harmony. By casting Echo skill, it grants 30% heavy attack damage bonus to the caster, and in addition, all resonators in the team gain up to 16% Echo skill damage bonus. Well, that's the short version, but basically, I can see this as a great support set, especially when playing in a team together with Frolova. Both of these sets can be farmed at the new Echo domain, and from what I understand, there's also going to be some kind of an Echo side quest where you can obtain Phantom Karazor as the reward. Like always, Kuro has prepared a bunch of quality of life upgrades for us. And starting with the first one, the gallery will now contain info of all the weapons, and in the future, they're planning to add echoes and even some lore to expand it further. Then, probably my favorite change, one-click reward collection will be added to most of the event tabs. Very useful. Next, we have some graphical updates for those who are using AMD or Intel cards. And even Nvidia is getting a new DLSS 4 update, which seems to boost FPS to the moon. But here's another win for PC users. Now you can use a bunch of new shortcut keys and even click spacebar or enter to close in-game windows, or even use these keys to log into the game. Still, let's not forget there's endgame. Tower of Adversity Hazard Tower will be expanded with 2 extra floors. Not sure this qualifies as quality of life, but more like extra content, I guess. But they did mention there will be extra rewards for clearing these new floors. Also, once the update is live, to unlock Overdrive Zone, you just need to complete Stable and Experiment zones. Oh, and most important of all, for both Whimpering and Tower modes, based on how much you cleared it last cycle, it will automatically complete some floors or levels, so you won't need to keep repeating them and just grab the rewards immediately. And then in Whimpering Wastes, you can now build up Ember during combat, and when it reaches 100%, you immediately enter Burning Waves state. Plus, you can now change the order of team comps and review the progress on the menu with better convenience. I'm not done yet. Fantasies of the Thousand Gateways is also getting some decent changes. There's now a dedicated team setup page, better categorization for metaphors, and some of them are updated and even new ones will be added. Oh, and Lucid Dream State will now become Divine Dream State, which can be activated manually with enough energy. Finally, moving over to exploration, you can now mark minerals, the same way we were able to do with flowers for some time now. And Loot Mapper, yet again, is receiving an even wider range coverage. And then for those of you who are stuck 100%ing Jinzo or Black Shores, more tracking will be added to these massive zones, and most importantly, you can now use flight utility in these zones, something that I was asking for a long time, and it's now finally happening. In fact, they've even adjusted for flight to work from flat ground, so you won't need to find a high place to jump from to use it. And even better, there's going to be this small event with a bunch of rewards that shows us how to use flight in these zones. Phew, that's pretty much it when it comes to the 2.6 update. There was also this really quick teaser at the end of the stream that you can see here, but all in all, I'm pretty happy about the update and can't wait to check it out. Anyway, hope you found this video useful, and as always, I'd really appreciate if you could press the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for the support, and see you in Augusta's guide video.